Thomas Sankara, often called Africa's Che Guevara, was more than just a leader. He was a revolutionary spirit, a voice for the voiceless, and a beacon of hope for a new Africa. Through ideals of self-reliance, social justice, and Pan-Africanism, Sankara ignited a movement that transformed Burkina Faso. His short tenure as president brought radical reforms that not only empowered the people but also threatened powerful interests both inside and outside his country. We must dare to invent the future. Burkina Faso will no longer rely on foreign aid but on the strength of its own people. We must build a society where everyone, regardless of status or wealth, has a place and purpose. Born in 1949 to a modest family in Upper Volta, Sankara grew up witnessing the hardships faced by his people under colonial rule and the poverty that lingered even after independence. His journey began in the military, where he quickly rose through the ranks, proving himself a thoughtful, disciplined, and visionary young officer. It was in Madagascar during a military training course that Sankara first encountered Marxist and anti-imperialist ideologies, shaping his vision for a self-sufficient and truly independent Africa. Returning to Upper Volta, he became a popular figure within the military, admired for his integrity and dedication to his country's future. Sankara's ideals soon took root in his politics, as he increasingly advocated for the empowerment of the people, anti-corruption measures, and national pride. This stance, however, attracted both admiration and unease among the political elite. In 1983, after being briefly imprisoned for his outspokenness, Sankara rose to power through a military coup at just 33 years old. With the support of the people and his close ally Blaise Compaoré, Sankara took control, determined to end the exploitation of his homeland by foreign powers and corrupt local elites. His first symbolic act was renaming Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, meaning land of upright people. Sankara believed in the power of language and identity, inspiring his citizens to stand tall and embrace their dignity. The spirit of a nation must be built on pride and independence. We will shape our own destiny. Under Sankara's leadership, Burkina Faso saw a remarkable transformation. His government built schools and clinics, launched a nationwide vaccination campaign that reduced child mortality, and promoted reforestation to combat desertification. He called for gender equality, banning forced marriages, polygamy, and encouraging women to take up leadership roles in the government and military. The revolution cannot triumph without the emancipation of women. We must lift our mothers, sisters, and daughters to walk beside us in this struggle. Sankara's outspoken rejection of foreign aid became one of his defining stances. He saw foreign assistance as a tool for controlling Africa, creating a cycle of dependency. By promoting domestic agriculture and production, he aimed to achieve food self-sufficiency, insisting that Africans should rely on their own labor and resources. This defiance of foreign interests, particularly from former colonial powers, won Sankara both admiration and resentment on the international stage. We do not need the so-called help of our former colonizers. Every loan binds us to a system that only serves to exploit and divide us. Africa must break free from these chains. But Sankara's vision was met with resistance, not just from the international community but from within his own country. Burkina Faso's traditional elites, many of whom benefited from foreign aid and maintained close ties with France and other powers, were threatened by Sankara's policies. Slowly, opposition began to rise, and powerful figures conspired to undermine him. One of Sankara's most trusted allies was Blaise Compaoré, a friend who had supported him from the start. Compaoré shared Sankara's journey to power and had stood by his side through countless battles. But as Sankara's popularity grew, so did the challenges to his authority, and doubts about Compaoré's loyalty began to surface. Sankara's radical policies isolated him, and tensions between the two men began to mount. While Sankara's dedication to his ideals was unwavering, some within his administration, including Compaoré, feared that his uncompromising approach was pushing the nation toward international isolation and economic hardship. Our revolution is not an easy one, but we will endure. Our struggle is for the dignity and independence of our people. On October 15, 1987, Thomas Sankara was called to a meeting at the presidential headquarters. He arrived, unaware that betrayal awaited him. Moments after entering the building, gunshots echoed through the halls, and Sankara, along with 12 of his aides, was brutally murdered in an ambush. The revolution he had fought for was silenced in a matter of minutes. In the days that followed, the news of Sankara's assassination sent shockwaves across Burkina Faso and beyond. The people mourned the loss of a man who had embodied their dreams of a fairer society. In his place, Blaise Compaoré seized power, ending the revolution that Sankara had so fiercely protected. Under Compaoré's rule, Sankara's vision for Burkina Faso was quickly dismantled. Compaoré aligned himself with foreign interests, reversing many of Sankara's policies and silencing those who sought justice. For decades, questions about Sankara's assassination lingered, with Compaoré denying involvement. But as accusations of betrayal mounted, Sankara's supporters demanded accountability. It wasn't until 2021 that a trial finally began, shedding light on the conspiracy behind Sankara's death. Compaoré was convicted in absentia for his role in the assassination, allowing the nation to confront the painful truth of Sankara's betrayal by those closest to him. Though his life was cut short, Thomas Sankara's legacy lives on. Across Africa, he remains a symbol of courage, justice, and the fight against oppression. Young Africans continue to draw inspiration from his ideals, carrying forward his dream of an independent, self-reliant continent. Sankara once said, "You can kill a man, but you cannot kill an idea." His vision for a united and dignified Africa transcends borders, reminding us that the fight for justice and freedom is never truly over. Today, Thomas Sankara's spirit endures, a guiding light for generations to come. Thomas Sankara may have been taken too soon, but his vision for a self-reliant and dignified Africa endures.